Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Clap, make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are, because we back, we here, we live, and we got some insane returns to the world of boxing as Lomachenko is now back in business as a fighter in the world of 135, and we got a whole lot of potential dream matchups that we need to discuss on today's show, and we appreciate with you all joining us here because we have a lot to talk about. I do mean a smorgasbord of things to discuss along this news alone between 135 and 140. All of a sudden, the whole landscape of this division, of these two divisions, had just opened wide for the public to debate, to talk about, to ask questions with, to question the viability of Lomachenko's ability at this stage in his career. What was the reason for his retirement? We're going to get into that. It deals with some contract stuff as well as so much more stuff in the world of sports and beyond. We appreciate you tuning in with us today. We're glad that you're here joining in on our show. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come on, be a part of our community, be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe, and join our empire. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube, you keep up with all the news that we got going on. Be sure to leave a like on the video. One like does a world of difference to make this channel and this show and this episode go out to the algorithms all across the world. Keep on chatting your thoughts and responses on whatever we discuss throughout the whole of the day, and do the two most important things, which is to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together, all with you and your support. We can grow this thing into something incredible, no question about it. And also be sure, if you can support the channel, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the descriptions, as well as super chats, super gifts, super thanks, stickers, and the like that you can get through YouTube if you can't afford to support the channel. It would mean the world to me. We're funded by viewers like you. You all are the ones that make this whole show possible, and without you, heck, we're nothing. So we can appreciate it if you can support this channel and help me to pay the bills, and also help us to go and edify this show by investing back into it with more excitement, more energy, and even more amenities to make this show more enjoyable for you, the listeners and viewers all across the world. But with all that being said, we have a jam-packed episode to discuss. We have a whole lot of things to essentially dissect and be skeptical about and give my thoughts and opinions on. So it's time to talk boxing. It's time to start to talk sports. And it's time for us to start the show. And it's time to step into the ring. Come on. Yeah, let's get it started. Yes, sir. Ring the bell. Let's get it going. Let's get it popping. Round one of this show going underway as we have, again, breaking news. Again, we have more stuff than just Lomachenko that we will be discussing. But the biggest thing that we had to talk about on today is the fact that Lomachenko, hey man, the Matrix is back. Can you believe it? Hey, look at this. The Matrix is back. The Matrix The most confusing Rubik's Cube that we've had in the modern day generation of boxing now has returned with the best feat in the business to go and conquer the rest of the divisions at 135. And this seems to be something that is legitimately not just real, but outright dangerous because of where we're seeing Lomachenko trying to go. Because he apparently wants to fight nobody but real killers in his return. Now, it's been, about a year or two? Actually, I think it's been longer than a year that he's been outside of the ring and it has been away from this sport. And again, the reason why, if you didn't know, is seemingly because of the fact that the day he came back was the day after his contract with Top Rank was up. So essentially, this man retired out of his contract, didn't fight, didn't go through, waiting until that deal was done, and now it's coming back into the foray as a free agent for the world of boxing to go and try to barter, try to pay him, try to go and give him the best deal possible to bring one of the most unique figures in the sport onto their stable of fighters. It could be with Eddie Hearn. It could be with Matchroom Boxing. It could be with Frank Ward and Christenberry. It could be with the PBC. Who knows where he's going to go? It could be potentially a re-up deal with Top Rank and Bob Arum, or it could be even with the likes of Zuffa. Yeah. We got to talk like that because now we are, all of these things are valid questions to discuss and try to understand. There is a whole host, and I do mean a whole host of different ways and avenues that this whole potential signing to a new structure of a regime can be. All of which bring about a bunch of different types of fights that can happen. We can get this stuff out the way right now when it comes to what will be the most likely thing. Well, I want to say PBC may be the thing to be if you're looking for big-time fights, and Tank being one of the big-time players in said game of fighting. But again, we'll discuss the more fervent players in this potential comeback later on in the show. As of right now, that's the reasoning as to why. And since that's the reasoning, well, now we have to say, how great can he still be after being out the sport for about over 2 years, especially with somebody who relies on so much of a technique-driven, laden style with footwork, with the movement, timing, and as intricate as his style is, could we run into some danger of maybe he ain't going to be the same brother? Or could it be that this break has actually turned him into an even better, more healed, and potentially garner a second half of a career that is able to, crazy enough, outshine the first half, hypothetically. There's a bunch of stuff to discuss. We're going to talk about it with you all right here on the show. And we got people tuning in, like with Love King in the chat. How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show. Thank you, Love King, for joining in on our airways today. We appreciate it. Let me see what you guys say. Lomachenko versus Tank Davis. Both haven't fought in a while. That would be a great fight. It really would. Now, the reasonings for their, absences in the ring have been a little bit different. Understandable. We ain't going to get into the details because we already have. That fight is part of the moniker of the 3 big-time deals that we want to see Lomachenko get in the ring and try to deal with as he comes back into boxing. And it's a real thing, or rather, it's a real surprising thing, because now everybody is calling this man out. For real, if you haven't kept up with social media, I mean, it's been left, right, and center. Every person in the globe at 135, 140 is now saying, hey, brother, I want that smoke. People were saying, give him Abdullah Mason. People saying, give him Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis is even calling him out himself, saying, hey, brother, I'm here. Give me a fight. Give me a chance to go and conquer history. Give me a chance to go and be great against another great fighter. And this has been a firestorm of crazy enough, straight up of investment and imagination. That's what this is. Because when this news broke, it shook up everybody. Well, it legitimately seemed like Lomachenko was actively done. For real. He was done with the sport for real. He didn't need no more money. He didn't need no more cachet. He didn't need any more shine. And I thought, man, he's just walking away after he won the title. Maybe he's just done. Now, apparently not. And now matchups that we thought would never be able to take place now potentially are able to take place, and of the which we even got some of the people in this very regime, like with Keyshawn Davis, calling him out and saying, hey, I want that smoke. And I'll even let him tell you his words as to how exciting he is, or how excited he is to Keyshawn Davis for wanting the likes of Lomachenko to come back and get in the ring and step and see what he can do against the best of the best. And I'll let him tell you for himself as we transition over. Well, we're already in it. Let me just play what he had to say.
For your first fight.
And you can't hear it. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. There we go. All right.
Loma, fight me for your first fight back. Come on, let's do it, Loma. Fight me, Lomachenko. I come to Ukraine.
That's a great fight.
I go to Ukraine. Bro. You know what I'm saying? He about your height too. You good.
Well, hey, take it easy now. Take it easy. Us short kings are dangerous too. How do you see a fight with Loma going down?
Nah, Loma, you are a legend. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start by saying that. You a legend, Loma. But you gonna fight if you decide to fight me, I'm knocking you out just like Baranchi. Facts. Loma, fight.
Now, again, you hear the confidence. We're gonna talk about Baranchi because he may be in for a little bit of a rude awakening. If any of this fight's gonna go like that, but either way, that's just one of them. And the biggest of a fights, like you saw, like you brought it with Love King, is this fight right here. Posters have been made flying off the shelves, and everybody making a whole makeshift, essentially thumbnails and hype pieces, talking about the fight that we thought we would never get may actually now come to fruition. Tank versus Lomachenko as a legitimate potential clash of the Titans. Of who reigns at 135? Legit. And all of these matchups, just by one name, putting their hat in the ring again, has caused everybody to completely lose their mind, and understandably so. And so let's talk about it. Let's have a real discussion of these fights. Which one's the realest one that we could actually see happen? We know what the public wants. The public wants Loma versus Tank. Like, I get that. The public wants Loma versus Tank. But I don't know if that will even be a possibility for the likes of Gervonta Davis to fight against Tank. And it's because we've already been down this road before. And we didn't get it the first time. There was a point in time where Lomachenko, Tank Davis were open and available to have the opportunity to fight each other. And it was Tank that stifled, or rather didn't pursue, said fight when he should have. Because it was there. It was there. And we had seen Lomachenko already fight against other champions. He's already fought against Devin Haney. He was doing the work that we know Lomachenko had been able to do. Being one of the most fastest moving champions that we had in boxing at that point in time. Incredible. Phenomenal. And Tank being Tank, the stardom, the power, all that stuff. We wanted to see that clash. We didn't get it. Now, will we get it still? I don't know. Or at least with this fight. Because I don't know how Tank is trying to move. Because we still don't know if Tank's going to fight any of the current top stars here. Lomachenko is still a top star abroad, regardless of weight division. Don't forget, there's the argument that he did beat Devin Haney in their fight against each other. This man beating him almost every time has been controversial. Nearly, except for Teofimo Lopez, nearly every loss that he's had has been controversial. Not nearly every loss that he's had has been controversial and seen as Lomachenko maybe should have gotten a nod for that. And with him in this fight, if Tank really wants it, Tank would make it. The ball is in his court at this point. Because Lomachenko's lost some leverage. He's been out the ring. He still has, again, star power. And everybody's calling him out. But also everybody's calling him out because they think, this will be an easy pickings type of fight. Oh, he's older. feet may have stopped being what they used to be. Now I can go and really take them out. Now again, Keyshawn, a little bit different. This ain't gonna be like a Baranchik fight. This ain't gonna be no 4-round destruction where you're just able to go and decimate and dominate without any pushback at all. It ain't. It's gonna be if you think that Lomachenko's lost all of his capacity and powers as a fleet-footed fighter, as a fighter who relies on his the movement, the angles, the hand speed inside work, making you miss, turning you around, the Rubik's Cube of game plan, the matrix of a game plan that Lomachenko is. Ain't gonna be that easy for anybody, even in the return. But for a return, if I'm Lomachenko, I'm not fighting any of them first. I'm not fighting any of them. And again, as you can see right here on via social media, you can see how he was quoted as saying, I want the big fights. I want the smoke. I want to go against everybody that I can come out of retirement after 2 years, and it's targeting only big fights. Only big fights. I respect it. I have no issue. He himself wants to smoke with the best of the best. I understand. I really do. I don't know if it's a smart idea to jump into the deep end early this quickly. Especially Lomachenko himself is not necessarily a spring chicken in his age. I'm not saying he's completely out of his prime, but I would at least take one fight, tune up, and then now you jump in and say, okay, boom, I'm back, I'm in rhythm, I'm ready, and I can take on everybody that I want to. I can do whatever I want. I'm fine with it. But regardless of which, if he is going to take on the big fights, biggest ones out there, Keyshawn, Keyshawn, Shakur, Tank are the three. If any fight was going to happen, it may be that the Shakur fight may be the fight that we get before anything else. It may be. It may be. It may be. I say that genuinely. It may be. And it's because of Shakur has already said he wants to come back down to 135. He's already said that again, Murtai is already in a potential conversation that he wants to fight against Raymond Murtai. And with the volatility of that division right now, especially if it is that Lomachenko's waiting on somebody to get a title first. Because it could be a situation where, yes, he does want to have big name fights, but he wants to see how the pool of talent goes. Because last time he was in a fight, he was winning a championship. One of the belts at 135 was his. He relinquished it. He's the one that gave it up. So it may be that, yeah, I want to smoke with anybody. Let's see what happens with these championship aspects. And then we go and say, all right, I'm picking my shot and I'm going after you. Big fight, even bigger implications. I want a championship. I want a title. I want to go after the smoke. It could be that. Or if he really doesn't want to just say, yeah, I want the big fights, period, he may not take a title. And if it doesn't take a title, then yeah, he may just say, all right, Tank, I'm going after you first. Before anything else, I'm going after Tank. It may just be, I'll put my foot on the gas. I'll apply pressure and see exactly what he wants to do. Now, does that mean that we're going to see Tank not fight against Floyd Schofield, which was a fight that we already said that we had been reported as it may actually happen? Tank versus Floyd Schofield could be a fight that was actually going to go down. It could have been a fight that actually could have transpired as Tank's first fight in, over a year? Nearly a year? We were looking to say that may be a thing, and he's still WBA champion. If he doesn't, unless he just says, yeah, we're going to take the money, I doubt it, because I still think Lomachenko may be a bigger threat than Tank wants to risk until Tank shows that he wants to take risk. But either way, it would be a fight I would love to see. But if I'm picking anything, I wouldn't be surprised if we get Loma versus Shakur as a pushing talk over Keyshawn and over Tank Davis. Because he may be the most fervent to say, okay, yeah, this is the type of technical war I've been looking for. So for me, that's what I think is going to happen. But we want to hear from you all and all of your thoughts and responses on our show today. Like with Johnny Blaze, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream. Joining us on our show today. Let me see what you guys say. Most people saying he going to Zuffa because they have it back. And we were debating where he's going to go because he is a free agent. He has the pick of litter because this retirement now is in the new context. It looked like just a retirement from the contract of Top Rank. So now he's just able to sign with anybody and everybody. They can throw the biggest bag, but it's also what drives the fighter as to where they're going to go. And if Loma doesn't want all the big fights, and Zuffa hasn't been able to make at this point in time the big fights that people want to see or that Loma would want to be in contention with, I don't know if Zuffa is going to be the first place that he goes. Does Loma care about any of the Zuffa titles or anything that Zuffa is as a brand? Does Loma even trust them as a brand to work with in the first place? He's not a champion, sure, but it could be another Jai Apatow situation where the buddy just says, I signed here thinking I only want the big fights, I only want the smoke, and the next thing you know, I get nothing. And I'm hung out to dry. We could run into that situation if that's what he chooses to do. But if the money's there, I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, they did throw him a bag. And it could become incredibly enticing. Now, what type of bag is Loma worth to the likes of Zuffa? Because he ain't young. Don't forget, yeah, he's only got 20 fights in total. I think 19 or 20 fights in total in his professional career. He's had an amateur record of 401 or 135 or something like that. He's not young. And so how long will you actually have him as this top guy, as a top star, is going to be able to go and keep on fighting at a top level against these other younger top guys? And if we invest in him, he can go and not just make fights, but he can win fights for us. He can win fights under our stable. And we ain't paying a bag for a buddy that just keeps on losing at the highest level because he may have degraded at this stage in his career because age, like with anybody, can just catch up to. And in a heartbeat. So you would have to ask, what value would Zuffa put on Lomachenko to say that they can throw him a bag? Because I don't know how much of a bag they would want to throw to Lomachenko because of all of those X factors of age, wear and tear, and your ability to stay at your prime at the top, especially with what we just saw with the likes of Keith Thurman. And what we potentially are going to see with Errol Spence Jr. We got to understand there's a lot of old folks that are coming back in boxing. There's a lot of 2-year, 3-year layoffs that are all of a sudden returning to this sport. And we just saw one of the biggest of which failed miserably in terms of getting knocked out and stopped and beat up to Kingdom Come by a younger fighter. So it's just a question to ask. But let me see. Mr. Miyagi, how you doing? Good to see you. Salute to you. We appreciate you on our live stream with us today. And please, if you haven't already, go ahead and keep on subscribing to your channel. Keep on sharing the show and keep on telling people about what we got going on. And please keep on doing your best to go and chat, comment, respond. We want to hear from you and your thoughts and reactions to anything that we have on our show today, because we're not just going to be talking about Lomachenko, but this is the biggest news that broke over this week going into today, which I didn't expect to happen today. Or happened when he did. That Lomachenko is unretired, and he's now back in boxing for real. And so it's getting interesting. It's getting very interesting for what we could potentially see on today's or on this Such a new tenure of a division. But let me see. Could see an exhibition fight against Inoue at 135. We ain't see. I don't think we ain't seeing that. We probably ain't gonna see that until Inoue retires. If he does keep to his word that 126 is the last thing. Now that would be interesting. I'll say that. That would be incredibly interesting to see what that potential dream fight would look like. But sadly, most likely that wouldn't happen. That would be, my gosh, that would be one kind of chess match. That really would. But let me see. Johnny Blaze, Conor Benn got $15 million. It makes sense. And yeah, it does. And again, when you bring out what they paid Conor Benn, yeah, understandable. He got paid $15 million. We thought it was for one fight. But now it's kind of conflicting news as to maybe this was actually a multi-fight deal that's worth $15 million. Lomachenko's going to be worth more than $15 million. He's going to be worth more than $15 million this point in time. And so it's going to have to be pretty significant. It's got to be pretty significant if they did pay him. But yeah, if Conor Benn can get $15 million for that, Lomachenko can probably get 45. With his resume, his pedigree, his accolades, and he's already been in big fights with the likes of Devin Haney. And he's dropping in the bucket of naked backhand boxing again. For the perspective of there's no pomp and circumstance. He just said, I'm back. And all of a sudden, one of the three bigger names in the sport, like Keyshawn Davis, is calling you out saying, hey, we want that smoke. And fans around the globe putting you and Tank in the same vicinity over and over and over again with just 2 words, I'm back. Yeah, he can demand a whole bunch of money. He really can. Let me see. I'm hearing Keyshawn can't sell a wing dinner and arena half empty days away from this card. So I've heard reports from it. I've seen some stuff that may say that's true. Some, not all. Some. Again, be very skeptical in that vein. Now, if it is true, I can't say for certain. There may be some validity to it, but again, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, that's absolutely right. If it is true, it would make sense because Keyshawn Davis hasn't gotten to that threshold where he's able just to, against anybody, he can sell by himself with anybody, regardless of their name. He's still, for the big gates and all that stuff, sure, he's still elevating his stardom. The Jermaine Ortiz fight was the biggest fight to help put him in the pedestal of, boom, you're in the running now to work your way up. You're in the conversation where you're launching off into the ethos of boxing minds and hearts, where people want to pay attention to you even more. And you're exciting, you're fun to watch, all that stuff. You got knockout power, and you're beating a name that is credible, for real. Launching point. That De Los Santos was supposed to be. Perfect. Now, Albright is not a huge name. They're Albright. He's not a huge. I don't care how much he sings. I don't care how much he can do riffs and runs. I don't care how much stuff he can go through and make happen. He is not a big name. He ain't. Frank Martin was a bigger name than him. Frank Martin may still be a bigger name than him, even after the fight that they have with each other. People not forking over money to go and tune in stadium with that type of opponent, with where we see Keyshawn Davis growing as a opportune fighter that can eventually sell out arenas by himself. It's going to get there eventually. But if it doesn't get there right now, I can understand. And this isn't an indictment. Like I said, this stuff happens. This is a part of the growth of a fighter. See, we have to understand, just because you don't sell huge off rip doesn't always mean, oh, this brother is not somebody to watch. Mind you, we talked about this with boxing before. Boxing is a fickle sport where the top dogs carry the weight of everything. Yeah, you got hometown heroes and all this stuff, and I think this is in I can't remember exactly where this fight is at. But when we're looking at building up his persona, it's gonna take some growing pains. So, hey, you go headline. And it may be a situation where you ain't, you struggle a little bit. It's going to be, mind you, before this fight, the previous fight that was going to be a main event for Keyshawn Davis was the fight with De Los Santos. That fight was selling fine. When the momentum was all cruising fluidly. And he had been in a position with somebody who, De Los Santos, after what De Los Santos had did to Shakur, or the fight with Shakur, it was still on everybody's mind of, oh shoot, all right, this is something to pay attention to. Right opponent, right situation, world title, got him to move. It did. Now I thought that the backdrop of this whole storyline would have been the very thing that would help people sell. Because, yeah, there's some beef there. It doesn't help that Keyshawn Davis is saying there's no grudge, there's no beef, there's no real concern with anything about this fight. It doesn't help that he isn't helping to make this fight as intriguing as it should with its own form of promotion. And if you don't believe me, let me play exactly what he was saying about this fight with Albright. That may be one of the reasons why people don't really care about this fight. Because in his own words, apparently, it's nothing personal. But I'll let him talk and tell you. Hold on, no, I won't, not yet. I won't let him talk and tell you, yeah, hold on now. Let me. Okay, now we got it. Now we good. Now we run it. Here we go. I'll now let him tell you exactly how he feels on how this fight is nothing personal when it comes to him versus Albright stepping in the ring with each other. If it will play, my gosh.
This fight is very personal.
This is why I hate Elon Musk and why he brought this whole platform. Because this man is messing up everything that I'm trying to do to make this thing work accordingly. Okay, we got it working now. We got it up and running. Now let's let you play in here what Keyshawn and Albright had to say about the personal grudge that this fight has in coming up, believe, this weekend.
This fight is personal. Tell us why.
To me, yes, this fight is very personal because on the biggest night of my life where I won the WBC Silver USA Championship, he came in and disrupted that. You know, I couldn't even celebrate in peace because of what happened. So this fight is definitely personal.
I think the media is trying to make it personal. I'm like, to me, it's just another fight. It's another opportunity for me. It's another chance for me to get paid. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not taking this personal at all, honestly. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to stop him, and I live to fight another day.
Tell us what went down backstage after his fight against Kelvin.
You know, I was celebrating and they came into my room. And everything, yeah.
Nothing really. We went home.
This fight is personal. Tell us
So
why.
you see the dichotomy of, mind you, when I was talking about this fight, I was given as much grandeur of blood beef and blood feud that you could have garnered with each other, with two people that got history, that got brothered history, literally, because he beat his brother, and Albright beat up his brother in the ring, and then rightfully won, and then he got jumped by all three brothers, allegedly, after said fight, with video evidence to boot. So I'm like, there's no reason why this shouldn't have people really sitting up saying, oh, this is going to be, there's going to be something. Even if it's a name that people don't necessarily know. That one story should have been the thing, that whole situation should have been the thing to make and carry this entire fight. I mean, just get everybody intrigued. Get everybody, make everybody completely invested in what was going down. But he's downplaying. He himself is taking away the ledger of the violence that can occur. So he ain't helping himself to fight in his own way. But let me keep on reading. It has to do with the last time he was supposed to headline Norfolk. He missed weight against De Los Santos. And the only reason he's fighting Albright again is because they jumped him backstage after he beat Kevin. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And don't forget the no contest when he popped for Weed last fight against Albright, the first fight. Yeah, that is true. So we have all of this should build into an affair of intrigue. But he himself is downplaying the very fight that for a lot of people, you bring back up that story, I guarantee they would tune in. And don't be surprised. Look, don't be surprised. You'll probably see the fight get bought last minute. You probably see tickets get sold last minute. You probably see the stadium start filling up last minute with all of a sudden, oh, it's actually a pretty decent packed house. I'm not saying it's going to be packed out to Kingdom Come. I am not saying it's going to be that they have a sold out arena within the next couple days. I'm saying it'll probably still be decently filled by the time the fight actually happens. If Keyshawn, with all the talk that he says about Lomachenko and everybody else, especially with him again still in a teeter-totter like state where he can still lose a lot of the momentum that he's garnered, that he recovered from this whole De Los Santos situation, from the whole Keyshawn and Albright altercation, both of those instances. Like, you would think he'd be talking this up just like you're talking Lomachenko. You would think he'd be talking this fight up as if, oh yeah, look, hey, we had some stuff happen, but I'm gonna go and put you down and put you under. I'ma go. If you got a problem with how we engaged with you after the fight, do something about it. And Albright could have been like, oh yeah, look, y'all a bunch of punks and cowards. You jumped me and now mano y mano, I'm gonna beat you just like I beat your brother. It ain't gonna be like the first time. You think you the only one that got better? I did too, and I guarantee you right now, you thought that first fight was hard for you just to get through by the skin of your teeth. I'm gonna tell you right now, this fight, Albright, I'm gonna come and ruin this whole parade that you got going on. That could be the banter, but yeah, he's messing up by not really leaning in, at least to me. But let me see. I don't like that energy from Keyshawn at all. I'm saying it now, Albright for the upset. And look, if Keyshawn even wants to sniff the idea of getting in the ring with Lomachenko or anybody else between 140 and 147, he's going to have to get this win. And he's going to have to look good doing it. He really is. He really is. He really is. Because the boxing world is going to need to keep on seeing, especially if it's, all this stuff about he can't sell and all that stuff starting to swirl. He's going to need to put himself in a position where everybody keeps on looking at, man, y'all should have went to see that fight because you missed out on a dominant display for one of the youngest rising stars. He's going to, for a lot of people, they're going to want to see him put up and shut down Albright completely in order to get this momentum of, okay, a fight with Lomachenko is viable. Don't forget Keyshawn Davis also said he wanted to move out of 135, 140 and 147. He's gunning for Devin Haney. Him dropping back down to 135 will then put him in conversations with Tank. Are you going to fight Tank then? If you are also able to make weight still and come back down. Are you going to fight Abdullah Mason then? If you are still able to come back down. When you said that's not your MO anymore. Especially if you look good. And if you're so fervent, at least these are just options to think about. Their last fight was a majority Was it? Hold on. Let me actually look up what the result of the last fight was, so I can give you all the proper indication. Keyshawn versus All Right One. Okay, yeah, it was a majority decision. Yep, majority decision. And like y'all said in the chat, Keyshawn popped dirty for marijuana, and then it got overturned by the Texas Department of License and Registration and deemed a no contest. Scorecards were 95-95, 96-94, 97-93. So you had a draw and two people saying, well, actually, no, yeah. I read it right. 95-95, 96-94, 97-93 were the scorecards. But like I said, the judges may have had it tighter than two judges had that fight tight. One had it draw outright. So we want to see no hiccups in this fight. I want to see Keyshawn win because I want to see, if this Lomachenko situation is real, I want to see him actually go and make a run for it if he really is about it. If he is, but really, we'll find out. It seems like this guy, or it seems like he has this, I'm not going to give this guy any clout attitude, but that's real dumb because you have to, you have a fight coming up. And like I said, when it comes to, well, I haven't said, when it comes to the whole situation of drugs, specifically marijuana, the same thing that Ricky Williams got blackballed from the NFL for, same thing that had turned into a legitimate medical ability to help athletes recover, not just recreationally, but to actually help them was deemed as bad, even though most of the owners were doing it in studios. A lot of coaches were doing it in their own houses and whatnot. Kind of changed over the past couple of years, this sentiment. Especially when you have people again doing crack cocaine. And they being like, oh yeah, I'm good. Nobody batting an eye. So it's, it's a protect the league or protect the brand when it's convenient. But when they got accepted, everybody will say, oh, it's not a problem anymore. Just like with gambling. Everybody said it was wrong. Everybody's saying it is wrong for a number of years, and all of a sudden now, oh, it's legal? ESPN, Fox, NBC, whatever brand you can think of, now they're all doing the thing or letting the thing go that they said was oh so bad for the brand. But they were always doing it before. At least the higher ups were. But that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation of debate and situation. Essentially, this fight, especially with how Keyshawn's been moving now, should be. There's no question that he is not going to be focused for what's going to be for this fight. There should be no question that Keyshawn Davis is not going to have any hiccups going into this fight, especially since he said seemingly he's been saying that he's turned his life around. He's gone and trying to get himself where he's supposed to be with God and with himself. That's his message to the world. I'm not what I was, and I'm better. And I'm not going to mess myself up like I did in the past. That's perfectly fine, and we applaud the change. We really do. And if this change is real, it's going to show up, and we're going to say, okay, yeah, this man, yeah, we ain't got to worry about nothing else. Nothing should be in this system. Nothing should be a problem in or outside the ring. And he can't afford it to be a problem in or outside of the ring. He can't. Because let's be real about it. And I'm not posing this as, oh, he's a problem child, or he's a Mike Tyson-esque figure where he's just violent in every way, or he's a Tank Davis type figure where he's got something going on every single time out. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, unlike with the Mike Tysons, unlike with the Gervonta Davises, and unlike with other stars that have a better name, have a bigger name, have a stronger cachet with the public, have a bigger brand that is harder to make fail, he is not in that position. He cannot afford to have something else go awry where he is the center of controversy, lest he lose out on money that he can never recoup. Lest he loses out on opportunities that he cannot regain. Especially with, again, Lomachenko back in the mix as a potential legit big-time cash affair of a fight if you can even get it. If you mess up once, you out the running period of this. But he gets stripped, he loses his title. Shoot, even a bad performance can potentially go and mess everything up for where we want to see Keyshawn go and where Keyshawn himself wants to go. Because his brand compared to the Ryan Garcias, his brand compared to the TLs, his brand compared to these other stars, the Tanks and others, that yes, have had a whole litany of stuff abounding about their careers, but they've still had the staying power and, oh yeah, this buddy, he's worth da-da-da-da-da-da. So, it's going to take a lot more to push that tower over. I don't want it to happen to Keyshawn Davis. That's why I'm saying I hope he does keep everything right. Because I want to see him beat the brakes off of Albright, get this dominating win, and then finally make a real decision. Make a real decision. Because let's be again, we're molding through different topics of discussion. We're not trying to harp on anything. But we have to be clear about this whole story with Keyshawn. It's more than just this fight with Albright. It's more than just him saying he wants to fight Lomachenko. He's got to make a decision of what he wants to do in the first place. That's the thing. He's got to make a decision. What does he want? What does he want? Because before this fight with Albright, the whole fight game for over the last couple months since his fight with Ortiz was I want to fight Devin Haney, and then fluctuating. I want to stay at 140. I want to go to 147. I want to move up. I want to stay here. What is it that we want? What does Keyshawn Davis want to do? I don't know. I'm not sure. He's not going to get to fight with Devin Haney, most likely. In the immediate, though he wants. He said he doesn't want him to fight at 135 anymore, but now he's calling out Lomachenko. But he can win titles and make fights at 140. He could fight Gary Antoine Russell after this fight with Albright. He could fight Dalton Smith after the fight with Albright. He could do all that. But we don't know where he's going to stay. Though he said what his goal is. He's being too widespread with a shotgun blast of names to choose from. And I don't say this in a good way. I say this because I'm confused. I'm really confused. I don't like being confused when I want to know where you're going to go and what you're trying to do. What is the plan with you calling out everybody under the sun, but we don't know where you're trying to stay or what your goal is? You want to be a champion? Fine. Where? You want to fight big names? Fine. Where? Because are you going to be fluctuating up and down in weight? Are you going to be like Tommy Hearns where you fight at 3 fights, 3 separate divisions? Go up, go down again, come back up, go up, go back, stay here for 2 fights, come back down. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And for a lot of people, they've been saying we don't know what he wants to do because of the fact that he's being vague in a way that or rather being not as concrete in a way that I just don't like. At least when it comes to the action that I've seen versus the words, it's like there's something stuff that I thought would be adding up is not adding up. The biggest of which being we want to see him fight Shakur Stevenson. Everybody says that. I still want to see it. I understand that they're brothers. I understand that they are in the thick of bonding as you help me out of a dark place and whatnot. Absolutely. But ain't just me that's seeing it. There's been more people on social media saying, hey, man, there's some fatigue going on with Keyshawn and Shakur from the standard of that fight slightly. May be better on the cards because Keyshawn, if we go look at social media, they're saying exactly what I've been saying. If somebody was going to cross that threshold and pull the trigger, it would be him. It would be him. And some people are saying there's some inklings that it might be more important, more happening than we may see. But all of this is to essentially say we have so much volatility of where Keyshawn Davis is going to go and what he wants to do. I don't know what he wants to do. I don't understand. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. That's just me. That's me. But either way, we can still go back to the conversation of Lomachenko outright because people are still talking about Loma versus the likes of Shakur or Tank as a potential dream fight. And we need to talk about with this whole diaspora of big time deals, what exactly he wants to do. What exactly he wants to be. And where exactly he can be coming back against these potential three killers of monsters with Shakur, Tank, or Keyshawn Davis. Who's he most likely to be of the three? Also, we got people coming into the chat. Like, yo, Harry Hempster, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream with us today. Hold on a minute. Anybody sleep, my brother? We got paid. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a minute. We got paid. Oh, shoot. Hold on a minute. Let me check and see where. I think it was probably with Cash App or the PayPal. I forgot to put my whatchamacallit, my stuff up. I forgot to put my stuff up so I can acknowledge it. I mean, we've been having so many people give on super chats regularly. I haven't even gotten to go through and pull up the Cash App and PayPal accounts so we can keep track of who gives what and when so everybody can get their just due and their thanks. Let me pull that up real quick so I can actually have the things up to snuff. But we appreciate you giving regardless of which. We're going to acknowledge you. We're going to acknowledge the amount. Just give me a second and to pull it up and get it on my screen. We appreciate the love and support the channel while you're here. Okay, it's on PayPal. I appreciate it. I'm gonna check PayPal and get and call out the amount. Absolutely. But while you're here, let me see what you had to say on our show. Because right now we're discussing the world of Loma versus Keyshawn, Shakur, and Tank. And who you think would be the best the best opponent that Lomachenko could beat right now of the three. And in fact, I'll put as I'm searching the PayPal, I'm also put out a poll and ask this question to you all because it's gonna be it's a real thing. Tank. Let me see. We're gonna do this. Tank, Keyshawn, Shakur. Who? Or how do I ask? Who can Loma really beat? Right now. Yeah, that's the question. Who can Loma beat amongst these three? Who can Loma beat? Let me see. You say maybe Shakur. I mean, Loma can beat Shakur? That's actually. Now, again, this is if Loma's at the best of his powers, but that may not be a bad answer. It may not be a bad answer. I'm serious. I'm serious. Now, for some, that may be shocking. For some, that will be an incredibly, how dare you say that type of sentiment? Who are you to even claim that Tank would lose to a Lomachenko? Well, you understand this was a conversation previously before before Lomachenko ever retired. That if Loma had ever gotten a chance to fight the likes of Tank, he would be able to beat him. And with the newfound evidence of what we saw against Welch, all of a sudden, that's not looking too far-fetched. That, hey, if Roach was able to beat Tank in the pocket, in the close range area, be able to outwork and crazy enough, out game plan in the heat of battle, one of the best methodical counter-punching destroyers that we have in boxing right now, who's to say that Loma with those angles, with his, it's not herky-jerky, but with his unorthodox movement and the footwork that can go and turn you inside out because you don't know where to go and where to step and how to get around or rather even corner Loma when Loma's right in front of you. It's not out of the question to say that if Lomachenko's at his best, he can beat the likes of Tank. He can. He really can. He really can. And the biggest reason why is because Tank is a front-running type of fighter. Or rather, he's a backlog type of fighter. Let me rephrase it. He's a backlog type of fighter. He's a fighter who he goes through, and the backlog, after round 5, all right, I'm going to build up. I'm going to now implement my game plan, and we're going to try to knock you out within rounds 8 to rounds 12. That's the goal. That's the sweet spot of I got your game plan. We can go and end you. But just like we saw with Lamont Roach, if you're able to keep up with Tank during that first couple rounds process and in those middle rounds, 5 to 7, you're able to still take rounds from him and force Tank to have the only recourse, not just the main game plan, the only recourse for Tank is I need to knock you out. Now, you got a shot at really winning. You do, because that's how that draw that should have been a win for Lomachenko did occur. We saw Lamont build up with Tank. We saw him match Tank in wherever he was going to go. We saw Lamont Roach not let Tank have the luxury of, okay, these last rounds are mine, and I'm going to just be defensive. Now, he went and still was taking it to him. I'm going to keep winning this fight off of the momentum I have instead of just being so afraid, concerned, and scared of what you're going to do because now you're walking forward. Now you're trying to punch with more fervor. Now you're trying to really go and put up some hurt on me, unlike what you were doing in the first 4 rounds. That's what Lomachenko can do. Similar game plan, but a better technical fighter. Better inside fighter. Better reactionary fighter. He's a harder Rubik's Cube to figure out than Loma. And he's not going to be afraid of Tank because he's dealt with power before in Teofimo Lopez. And Tio, don't forget, Tio at 135 was putting everybody to sleep. It was Tio and Tank as the 2 strongest hitters at 135, period. Those 2 were the heaviest hands in this division at 135, outright. So it ain't going to be like, oh, Loma ain't going to be able to take, or he's going to be afraid of the power. He's dealt with a similar level of destructive nature. And he almost put that fight out in that night. It was just he started too late. He started too late. But if he had started early, you know, he could have amped up his aggression earlier in that fight. He potentially could have gotten that win. Because once he started moving like he wanted to move, he was taking control. And it got down to round 12 was the last round, and you had to really say do or die. What's going to shake and what's going to break. And we got to see Tio legitimately win that round. That's why I said at the start of the show, outside of Tio, every other loss for Lomachenko has been controversial. It's been controversial. So trust me, I don't believe, for anybody who thinks that Loma would be afraid of Tank in the slightest, don't think that's why Tank is going to win. If you think Tank's going to catch him because he's a better counterpuncher, in the pocket, he'll be able to go and land the shots that will put Lomachenko in a dangerous way. When Lomachenko's stepping around him, perfectly fine. He'll set up a trap that Lomachenko will fall into, and then he'll be able to get caught and get hurt. Fine. Perfect. Cool. He'll just be too quick for Lomachenko. When we talk about one of the most explosive fighters in the game, and Lomachenko, even though it's a smaller stature, and it ain't Tio, the same explosiveness that gave him a problem against Tio is going to be the same thing that gives him problems against Tank. That's perfectly fine. But if you think it's going to be because of fear, you're sorely mistaken. You're sorely mistaken. You are sorely mistaken. If anything, the fear of Tank Davis may not be as potent as it used to be. All because of the fight with Lamont Roach and the subsequent moves after Lamont Roach. See, when we talk about reputation and we talk about fear, we talked about fear with Sonny Liston, George Foreman, the art of fear, the art of letting your image speak for you. You not even having to throw a punch or people just hearing the thud of your punch across the room like with Mike Tyson. And next thing you know, it instills a level of hesitation, a level of negative discernment, where you are subconsciously pushing yourself into a corner without the opponent even doing anything. A simple step causes you to bite. A simple feint makes you overreact. We saw that with Frank Martin. Everything can make you, as a fighter, turn yourself into your own prisoner. Lock your own self behind a cage because you're afraid of the tiger that isn't even moving. That is what we can see, or that's what we had seen from Tank before. But since Lamont Roach, all of a sudden that same viewpoint of Gervonta Davis, it has not been the same perspective. It hasn't been the same overwhelming sense of fear throughout the populace. It's been replaced by a lot of frustration. Let's be real. Let's be real. It's been replaced by a whole swath of frustration by people because of everything going on outside of the ring. The recognition of taking fights against folks that are legit threats. And the problem of what we saw with Lamont has skewed the unstoppable force that we saw Tank as. If he catches you, you will go down. Isak Cruz did what Lamont Roach couldn't do. All of a sudden, that further blew up the instance that we want to see Isak Cruz fight against Tank again at 140 this time. Don't forget, it was Lamont Roach that moved up to fight Isak, not Tank. In the words of Lamont Roach saying that Tank is too small, because of how he performed, it made people look at Tank and say, man, maybe there's more to this than just, the power just wasn't able to land. Maybe the differential in size is legit. And the concerns of the same lasting power that Tank, which is the end-all be-all, the dominant factor, the magnum opus of his entire game plan. It's not the only thing that he does. He's a great fighter all around. But that, the biggest weapon, all of a sudden got nerfed for some people. And now it's Shakur can beat him. Keyshawn Davis, that's a fight that we didn't think was going to be close for people that were Tank fans. Now it is concerning. And Loma, when we talk about how Loma was ducked by Tank, which is real, because Tank had a chance to make that fight and he did not take it at all. And Loma was open and available to make that fight happen. It's bred some concerns for a lot of people saying, yeah, if there was a fight that we could see Tank lose, or at least legitimately have a struggle with, and validate all of our concerns as to why the fight itself, or as to why that fight would have potentially been a loss if they had fought earlier. You could have them right here. Legitimately, you could. Legitimately, it could. So y'all better, again, be concerned. Be very concerned, because it's gonna be a problem. And that's just with Tank. The real intriguing fight, because again, if we want to talk about can Loma beat Keyshawn Davis, yes, I think it can beat Keyshawn Davis more than anything. Of all the fights that we see of this sect, Keyshawn is the one that I think he would be able to beat. He would really be able to beat. That's not because, now again, what we saw with Jermaine Ortiz, dealing with somebody that's a mover like that, hey, incredibly impressive, incredibly valuable, no question about that. What he showed answered stuff about the elite level that Keyshawn Davis is as a boxer. It did. There's no doubt about that. Again,
and he floats like a butterfly and hits like a tree.
that is the mentality, or rather, that's an aspect of the game that we can see with Keyshawn that wasn't put on the same level of display. More than just floating, this brother's legit able to move, walk you down, and as your boxing, deal with your elusiveness, while still being a demonstrative threat, using a good jab, and then ultimately still able to put your lights out and carry his power 12 rounds, even when chasing around somebody who is a avid, elusive fighter. Whole bunch of great things. However, this is not Baranchik. Loma is not what you faced off against before, if you're Keyshawn. That fight, if it is a Loma at his best, he can beat Keyshawn Davis. He can beat Keyshawn Davis. I'm not saying it's impossible. Keyshawn Davis can beat him. Of the closest affairs, that may be the one. But he can definitely beat him, because he has the dimensions, the physical frame that, similar to T.O., can give Loma the similar types of problems. Similar to Devin Haney. Big frames lead to, okay, the Matrix has to work hard. And still, in working hard, he can still do what he needs to do, but it's going to be, we've seen it. It's a struggle. It's tough. But in terms of experience and dealing with looks in that regard, yeah, Keyshawn, he may have some trouble. He may have some trouble. The awkwardness of Loma can be something that makes Keyshawn really be able to struggle. And the reason why is because of that first fight with Albright. This is why I said Keyshawn versus Albright is such an important fight. Even though it may not be selling as great as people may have thought, Keyshawn versus Albright is incredibly important because the awkwardness of Albright was one of the reasons why that fight was a majority draw. Majority draw. And I'm sorry, not draw, decision. I'm blanking. I'm reading through a lot of stuff. I'm sorry. I'm trying to, mine's racing. My apologies. Let me slow it down. That's why that fight was a majority decision. Wasn't clean cut. The awkwardness of Albright is a thing. It's not an Achilles heel for Keyshawn, but it's definitely a thorn in the side that can sting and get agitated. Lomachenko, with that type of Matrix level technical ability, his brother's made Rigondeaux quit. He's made 4 people quit back to back to back to back. He's been one of the most fervent killers in all of boxing. Also, excuse me, I think somebody's calling. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me grab my phone. Hold on. Who reaching out to me? The world. See, stinking spam. Just a bunch of spam callers, that's all. No issue there. But regardless of which, what was I saying? Oh, the awkwardness of Lomachenko can definitely be a problem that Keyshawn Davis may not be able to overcome at this stage in his career. And if there was a fight I think he could lose, it would be that. It'd be that. But I'll say this. Also, before I continue, because we're about to get into now Shakur versus Loma as a potential fight. Let me keep on reading your chats real quick. We have more people in the chat. Like what Legendary Super saying. Jackson, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream for today. And we can't wait to see what you have to say on our show. Salute to you and everybody else in the chat. It's so dope that Loma is returning. It is dope. Like I said, it's a big splash in this division of 135 and subsequently 140 that got people across divisions making fights or saying they want to smoke, which just shows how great he is. If Welch can trouble Tank, Loma can beat him up, in my opinion. And that absolutely. Because and again, we got to get to Loma versus Shakur, because that's the fight I really want to talk about. But that Tank was not, or rather, Lamont versus Tank wasn't just a bad night. It was a blueprint. Oh, if you can withstand him, not even withstand him, but if you can legit box in the pocket without being afraid, you can stand up to Tank. Crazy. Now you still got to have a chin, but you can stand up to him. My goodness, that shook up a lot of people. And Lomachenko definitely can, because he done it against big punches before. Let me see. Keyshawn is too big to be calling out Loma. I mean, and we did say that too. Or rather, from the perspective of, I didn't like that Keyshawn kept calling him out, because I just don't know where Keyshawn is going to go. Because he's calling out Devin Haney, he's called out Tank, he's called out Shakur. Well, no, he hasn't called out Shakur, but he's called out others at 140. He's been all over the place, and now calling out Loma, it's like, well, where in the world are you trying to be? What is your goal, and what are you trying to do? We just don't know. I despise it. I hate it. I don't like that, because again, it is uncertainty. But we'll cross that. We can talk about that later on our show. The biggest thing that we need to discuss is now Loma versus Shakur. Lomachenko versus Shakur. The fight that has the intrigue for me higher than anybody else. Because now we're dealing with a tale of two different cities that we didn't recognize, oh, this could be something. Because at the point in time when Loma was reigning at the top, or was at the top, Shakur was still building up his name at 135. Then when Loma left, in 2 years' time, Shakur had become one of the 5 best fighters in the globe. He deserves to be there. On my list is Inoue, Usyk, Bam, Benavidez, and Shakur. For other people, Shakur number 1, Shakur number 4, Shakur number 3, Shakur number 2. It's been that type of litigation when it comes to the movement of Shakur's career, and we love it. But now, a match that we never thought we'd actually get to see because of retirement is on the table. Because like I said earlier, if we don't see Shakur fight Murataya for the belt, or potentially subsequently after we see Shakur fight Murataya for the belt at 135, maybe we then do get Shakur versus Loma, and now it is technique versus technique. Now it's boxing versus boxing. For real, for real. Now it's a level of movement Shakur has never had to deal with in his life. Going up against Lomachenko. That would be one of the most interesting fights I could imagine. That would be so interesting. Now, Lomachenko, if he did fight Shakur, would he run into the same situation that he ran into when talking about him versus Shakur, when talking about Tio versus Shakur? That was, he couldn't get around the jab. He couldn't get around the jab. Now, T.O. not getting around the jab was because he was just befuddled. Father made a terrible game plan, couldn't adapt to anything, couldn't give him any looks from the outside perspective of the ring to help his son. And his son, on his own instincts, couldn't figure out how to get around it. He just kept getting popped with it. But Loma can get around that jab. He can. Loma is going to be Loma, if Loma's at his best, Loma will be the first person to truly make Shakur think in a way that he's talked about Bud Crawford made him think when he kept getting beat up by Bud. His words, not mine. That's been the only man I've heard that has made Shakur really think inside the ring, where it's like, man, I can't do anything with him. I can't figure him out, and he's doing it whatever he wants to do to me. Ridiculous. Lomachenko's the only other brother within these divisions that can make him think that way on a technical level, outside of maybe Tank Davis. It's going to be in that type of pushing of the engine, pushing the RPMs of his mind to 900, pressing the boxing acumen to the fullest of its extent out of Shakur. It's the very thing I want to see in that fight. And that's why I want to see that fight more than anything. People going to call it boring. I don't care. That fight would be. You could probably write books about what that fight could teach young fighters, what that fight could show when it came to distance, angles, uses of the jab and various other weapons, slipping and rolling, counterpunching, countering counters, foot placement, inside work, mid-range work, all of it. It would be an incredible thing to see. But Shakur would have the best opportunity to beat him. He would. Because he brings the size of somebody like a T.O. or a Devin Haney. Though he's small, I think he's smaller than Devin Haney. He brings the size of that, but he brings the mind of about as close to a thinker and as close to an IQ fighter as we've ever seen Loma fight against. So mind you, Devin Haney didn't outbox Lomachenko. He had to outfight him, but he couldn't outthink him. Teofimo Lopez outboxed him for half the fight, but then got outboxed himself for the second half of the fight, and he had to outfight him the last round. And due to his size, was able to win the day. Not taking anything away, that's just what happened. But outthinking Lomachenko, nobody's ever done for the whole of the fight. This could be the first time that we would potentially see somebody do that. That's how good Shakur is. That's how good he is. This could be the first time that we could see somebody actually not outfight Lomachenko, outbox him to a decision. And if we saw that, good night, man. We saw that. Beating Loma in a way that nobody else had been able to beat him before. Where you walk away saying, oh, you had to dig deep to win that fight. No, you still dug deep, but you outthought him for the whole and didn't just have to outfight him. Yeah, that'll be something incredible. And I think he may be the best man to do it. I think he may be the best man to coherently outthink the Matrix and Lomachenko. Not dog him out and rip him downstairs to the body. Not going into a blood and guts war where y'all just got to throw to win the rounds. I'm talking legitimately outthink Loma. This may be the only buddy that can do it. This may be the only buddy that can do it. I'm dead serious. Let me keep on reading. Shakur is just that, but a bit faster and more consistent in his style. I think he beats Loma on points. Yeah, again, because it's a 2-year layoff, yeah, I think he beats him on points. I do. And again, we've seen Shakur get more violent. We've seen Shakur be more open to throwing dangerous shots. We see Shakur more open to really sitting down on his punches, taking stuff from Terrence Crawford. He's even said that himself. So I love that. We could actually see him potentially say, oh, I'm bigger than Loma. I'm going to actually do what nobody else did. And I'm going to hurt him. I'm going to hurt him. Especially if I feel like I'm getting comfortable. Or I can just utilize the jab, potentially. I'm not saying it's going to work as consistently as it has all the other fights, because Loma is a different sector fighter. This isn't a one-dimensional Oscar Valdez. This isn't a lost Teofimo Lopez. This isn't a Haratunian. This was formerly the best boxer in the world. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems.
Let's not forget that.
We got some problems here.
This was formerly the best boxer in the world. With everything that we say about Shakur, we were saying that about Loma when he was running the world above his weight class. Mind you, he should not even be a 135 pounder. He shouldn't be a 135 pounder. He should be lower in weight. He should be closer to 126. 130 may even be too big. 126, 122, that's more around his frame of size. More importantly, 126 to 130. But he doesn't belong at 135. He doesn't. And people are going to say, oh, you're saying this about him, but you ain't saying this about Tank. Tank showed he can fight above his weight class. This has been Lomachenko's limit at this point in time as a weight class. But he's been able to conquer multiple divisions where he should not have belonged in, because he's that smart. He's that good. He's that much of a master at this game. So serious. And so this is going to be a mental test for Shakur in a way that I mean, again, outside of Terrence Crawford or Tank, you weren't thinking anybody else was going to be able to push Shakur to a limit boxing wise unless they were way above him in size. This is the only brother that can do it on a strictly straight technical level. At least in my opinion. Again, if he is able to fight just like he used to fight. Unless time has eroded. And if it has, now it can be a problem. Let me see. Yo, Pula, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our show. Salute to you. And to everybody in the chat on today. Let me see what you have to say on our show, because we appreciate all the love and support that you bring to the table. Hold on. There we go. Keyshawn fights a similar style to Bud Crawford to me. A little faster. There is some level of Crawford-esque nature. There's some. There's some level of offensive output. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, that's something I could see Terrence Crawford doing. There's some influence that definitely is there. There's no debate in my mind. Absolutely. Now, is he a bit faster? I'm not exactly sure. He may be quicker. He's more explosive. That's the better term. He can shoot out his shots slightly quicker than Terrence Crawford. Because Terrence Crawford, don't let it fool you. That brother, when he commits to something, especially when he started disguising his punches, brother, you couldn't read it. It was hard. And so, I do see the influence. Now, the defense, it ain't there. The adaptability ain't there. Everything else about that's about it. He throws some of the similar combinations, and we see some of the same mean grittiness that we saw with Crawford. We can see somewhat with Keyshawn. The comparison, but for me, the comparison stopped there. That's it. That is it. Also, we got, I'm looking at the poll right now that we have put out. Who can Lomachenko actually beat? 60% of y'all say he can beat Tank. And 40% say he can beat Shakur. Nobody thinks he can beat Keyshawn. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold up. Time out.
We got some problems here.
Nobody thinks that Loma can beat Keyshawn Davis? Nobody? Again, it's we still relatively got more votes coming in, but it's 60% say Loma can beat Tank, 40% say Loma can beat Shakur, but nobody is saying he can beat Keyshawn Davis. Again, just so we can make sure everybody understands the question. The question on the poll is, who amongst these three names can Lomachenko beat? Not who can beat him. Who can Lomachenko beat? In case you want to change your vote. Because right now, I didn't think Keyshawn Davis was this much of a problem. If nobody's saying Lomachenko can beat him, if Lomachenko's looking at his best, but then we got to start looking at Keyshawn Davis and saying, hey, brother, you can definitely beat Tank now. This makes me want to see Shakur and Keyshawn even more. If all of a sudden there's nobody that believes Lomachenko can beat you with the least experience out of everybody on this list. Good night. How good is Keyshawn Davis if that's the case? That I may be missing. Because I said that was a fight that was most likely that I could see Lomachenko beat because of his inexperience. Because Keyshawn Davis, he hasn't gotten that type of problem thrown at him yet. Jermaine Ortiz is a great opposition, and again, incredible. But I don't know if he's Lomachenko. Let me see. Keyshawn, too big, would have to be at 140. Yeah, I would assume, but at the same breath, is Lomachenko going to move up again? I don't, if that fight was ever to happen, I don't think Lomachenko would be the one moving up. I think it would be him moving down in terms of Keyshawn. And that's another wrinkle into this. That fight to happen would be at 135. The viability of Tank and Shakur also stems from the fact that all of them are either currently at or want to come back down to 135. Shakur wants to come back down to 135. He said that verbatim, and Tank is staying at 135. He's not moving up potentially ever again unless it's for Jake Paul, which is, again, a whole other problem in and of itself. Whole other problem in and of itself with that old sentiment. But either way, Keyshawn's the only one that has moved up and out of this division. Has been trying to climb the ranks. If Keyshawn did get that fight, it would be at a lower weight class. And now we're worrying about weight draining sentiments. Now we're getting to dangerous territory of Keyshawn, if that fight was to happen, would be at a physical disadvantage because he would be fighting under what he can actually fight at now. Even making weight at 135 would be a problematic issue. He would be stressing himself out. He would. That's why. Well, that's another part as to why. Me looking at him, yeah, it'd be tough. That would be a type of mental attrition that I don't think he's ever been in, physically and game plan wise. So that's where the experience doesn't come into play for Keyshawn Davis, and that's my biggest concern at this point in time. Let me see. Too big, too young, etc. Okay, let me add to this. Here's a good barometer. And this is going to help me. This is, I think, is a question to validly ask. At 140, could Keyshawn Davis beat T.O.? Let's ask that right now. At 140, if they were able to fight again, or even at 147, say at any weight class, because T.O.'s moving up. Keyshawn's wanted to touch 147 and 140 and all these other different things. Could Keyshawn Davis beat Teofimo Lopez right now? Could he beat him? Or any version of T.O., could Keyshawn beat him? And I ask that because if he can, then I would say he can go and beat Lomachenko. That's the threshold you need to be at to be able to beat Loma. Keyshawn needs to be at a T.O. or a Devin Haney type of boxing acumen. And he's great, don't get me wrong. You want to see him in these fights, don't get me wrong. His future has been able to get to that point. I've been saying that for years. But is he there now is the question. Though that Jermaine Ortiz fight is incredibly impressive, was that enough to say, yeah, he is better or as good as a T.O. or a Devin Haney? Because that's how good you need to be to beat the likes of Lomachenko, as we've seen. And even then, it's seen as, outside of T.O., the Devin Haney skill was controversial that it actually beat him. So if we can say that he's better than that, I can say I'm more confident he can beat the likes of Lomachenko. But if he's not that good, or if he's just under that threshold, I'm maybe picking the likes of Loma to beat Keyshawn Davis. Because I'm telling you, it's a different game. I'm telling you, it's the youth and the length and the experience of Keyshawn, all is great. But when you step in the ring with Loma, all of that you've garnered almost goes out the window. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's really tough. I heard Shakur said he would vacate his belt and let Keyshawn get it in the interview. Keyshawn, number one in WBO rankings. Yes, he would. I think that was at 140. He said that he would do that. And I believe that's true. I believe that is true. Now, again, I don't want to act like I know everything. Lord knows I do not. Lord knows I do not. But what I do know is that at these divisions, when it comes to 140 specifically, Keyshawn Davis has everything that he needs. If he fights at 135, that's my biggest concern more than anything. That he won't have everything that he needs. He won't be what makes Keyshawn Keyshawn, just like Canelo wasn't Canelo when he moved up to 140 or 175. Because the physical attributes that he garnered got stripped away. Especially if, again, missing weight with the likes of Keyshawn has already been a problem. It could be another problem that we don't want to see take place. But even still, let me keep on reading your thoughts and opinions. Is Keyshawn versus Shakur the closest thing to Bud versus Floyd we can get in the modern era? I mean, yeah. It is. It would be. It would be. It really would be. I'm serious. If we want to talk about just that fight as a whole, yeah, it would be. It would be the closest thing to Floyd versus Crawford. Now, if Floyd and Crawford ever fought against each other, that would be a very interesting affair. However, Keyshawn versus Shakur is a fight that ultimately it's going to be a fight where egos get in the way. It's going to be a fight where egos get in the way. Because the ego of Shakur is that you can't mess with me. You can't do anything with me. And it'll get to a point where, as we've seen If he feels like he needs to shut the public up and fight in a way to make them see what he's really about, he may not want to do it often, but he'll do it because he did it against Williams Zepeda. He fought in the pocket to prove a point. To show you, hey, y'all don't think I can beat this cat? I can do what I want to do whenever I want to do it against whoever. So he fought him in the pocket and he beat him up. Keyshawn Davis, that same ego is, ain't nobody better than me. I'm that dog in every facet, and nobody can step to me, not even Shakur. And I guarantee you that same sentiment when Keyshawn Davis, if he keeps on growing in the ranks, it's going to get more fervent, and he starts to speak up against Shakur as I'm that top dog, especially if he ever gets into pound-for-pound discussions. If he ever gets into pound-for-pound level discussions, mark my words, it's going to be Keyshawn Davis. If he starts feeling himself too much, that's going to be saying, hey, man, I should be the best in the world. All respect to Shakur and everything, but I'm the better fighter. Period. I guarantee you. You think I'm playing, it's going to happen. You think I'm playing, it's going to take place. Let Keyshawn Davis get a championship at 147. Let him beat a Devin Haney, hypothetically. Or a Lomachenko. Let him have one of those big-time accomplishments where he's ruling, reigning over a division and or beating a dominant fighter in shocking fashion. He's going to start saying stuff that ain't going to be outright, but it's going to be subtle jabs. Subtle jabs that get the public looking at Shakur and saying, what you going to do? Because he's talking about everybody, that includes you, as to who runs this sport. And it's going to happen. I'm dead serious. I think it's going to happen. But the stylistic thing, it's not just going to be one style versus another. They're both probably going to try to fight and beat the other person at their game. Keyshawn Davis is going to try to show the world, I can box in a way that y'all never seen. He going to try. It may not work. He going to try. And Shakur is going to be more than happy to oblige with, all right, it's turning into a more physical inside affair. It's time for me to pull out my bag of tricks and show the world, yeah, I'm still like that when it comes to these hands. Don't let these brutal hands fool you. I can still beat anybody at any range at any time. It will be a Venn diagram of a fight. It'll be a Venn diagram of a fight. It'll start out Bud versus Floyd, the closest thing we can get, absolutely. But it'll blend. It will blend at some point in time. And it's going to blend based on Keyshawn Davis' success as a boxer. That's going to be the Shakur does not change for anybody unless he says, okay, I want to change for somebody. His jab is consistent. He doesn't mince words trying to go through, and you know what he's going to do. Distance jabbing, defense, keeping you at bay and pot shotting you all fight long. You can't touch me. You can't do anything with me. His jab is copious. It is adaptable. It is one of the most versatile tools in this sport, and it doesn't change no matter what you do against him. Keyshawn Davis is going to have to force Shakur to change and fight a different type of fight. You don't have to by making it a stalemate in boxing wise, or giving Shakur something where my boxing alone may not be the thing that pulls out this fight. I got to dig. And if we see Keyshawn do that, the Venn diagram of crossing styles will start to come. It'll start to come to fruition. We'll start to see it. Let me see. Stylistically, though, Shakur is more Floyd. Keyshawn is more Bud. Stylistically, yeah. He is. They are. They absolutely are. Now, that would not be a indictment on what that fight of Floyd versus Crawford would actually have looked like. But it definitely would be the proteges of identities going at it. It would be, it would be like a hologram. It'd be kind of like a hologram. A shadowy outline of what that fight would have potentially looked like between the two. Absolutely. Absolutely, it would be. Let me see. Boots has his own style entirely. He doesn't fight like Floyd or Bud. No, he doesn't. He does. People compare. The only thing that people talk about with whatchamacallit. The only thing that people really talk about with Boots and Bud is the switch hitting. The only thing that people talk about with Boots and Bud is Bud can fight orthodox and southpaw. Boots can fight orthodox and southpaw. That's the closest thing we got to Terrence Crawford. That is not what makes Terrence Crawford solely because he can switch stances. And that is sure enough not enough to make Boots the biggest thing that is the most mirrored image of who the world Bud was. Nowhere close. It's a lot more than that. Boots is his own unique forte of fighter. He's his own outline when it comes to facing off against opposition. He can take from other people, but he is not them. He's not them at all. People need to stop confusing that because it is turning identities into a negative. This is a bad representation. It's like when people say Eastside Cruz fights like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson didn't just throw hooks. And he wasn't just one-dimensional. Eastside Cruz throwing hooks does not mean that he is Mike Tyson. There's some aspects, but it is not the thing. It ain't. There's more to it than that. And Boots has his own framework. Now, this next fight with Zayas is going to be one of the most significant showings of what that change is going to be. Of as he's still developing and as he's still growing, as he's still thriving, and as he's still moving as a fighter in this world of boxing, he has the capacity to make stuff shake and to even further make his style more destructive by adding on other aspects. We're going to see what that looks like after Zayas fight. Because trust me, it's gonna be a shift. It will be. Let me see. Legendary Super Saiyan talking about Shakur versus Keyshawn is pointless with them being buddy. I'm telling you, look, y'all think I'm playing? I'm not. It's not gonna last for long. If it lasts, I'll be surprised. But and again, this is speculation. But I am firmly of the mindset we will see that fight at some point. I'm so serious. Because there is food on the table. There's money in the pockets that's got to be made. There's a family to feed, and the egos of the boxers are built in a way that they're in too close a proximity right now. And they're going to be close throughout their entire career, where somebody at some point is going to have what the other person wants. And now I got to take it from you. It's just business. It's going to be the claim, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. What?
And he floats like a...
I'll tell you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's just business. It's going to be the thing that the second that gets said, that fight will happen. Because now the friendship is not getting in the way from the money and or the legacy. Especially what Turkey Al Sheikh and potentially, allegedly, Zuffa is also throwing around. I'm not saying money changes people. I am saying this sport, unless you're, again, a Klitschko brother, This what will cause you to have to go and face off against people that you care about the most. Jarrell Miller and Jarrell Miller and Andy Ruiz are close, tight-knit friendship. And they had to fight each other. And Jarrell Miller was crying, saying, I don't want to do that. We got to because this is what we signed up for, but I don't want to do it. I've brought this up before. Muhammad Ali, Jimmy Young were close friends before that fight. Turned into friends after that fight. Or we kept being friends after that fight. If I'm not mistaken, if memory serves me right, Frazier, before fighting Ali, supported Ali with the whole banning of him in boxing, saying he should have been backed him. Apparently was a really good friend to him. And then when Ali was the one that called him a bunch of names, called him a gorilla, turned a lot of the black population against Frazier, crazy enough, and made Frazier the enemy when Frazier was the one that behind the scenes was supporting Ali with that whole cycle of, hey man, you don't get to fight because of a correct stance that you held in this war in Vietnam. I believe it was Vietnam. And guess what that created? The three of the greatest fights we've ever seen in boxing history in its 100+ year span. Nothing has relatively come close outside of Gotti Ward. That's it. So I'm telling you, friendship or not, this fight is going to happen. Mark my words, it's going to happen. Also, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. Stop the presses. Oh. Wait a second. MS, how you doing? Good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream today. And please keep on liking the stream if you haven't already. Keep on sharing the show. We still want to hear from you in all regards to boxing and beyond. We love you all. We love the support. And we want you to keep on being a part of this channel. So please keep on telling us what your thoughts and opinions on everything. Keep voting in the poll and keep on shining as a great contributor to this community. And if you want to support the channel, just like we've already had with people in chat before on this show, like with Hammy Hamster, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as Super Chat, Super Gift, stickers, and the like, if you can support the show. But let me keep on reading your chats, because apparently we got some breaking news. Salute, Jean-Luc. Rumors are that Munguia is looking to make a fight with Khamzat Shiraz, but Golden Boy is trying to duck and protect that belt. Frankly, Shiraz is too big for Munguia, and these are the rumors. Well, we got to take this with some validity at this point. Hey, man, the last time you came here and broke some news, we said it may happen. I'm not gonna mess up and say this ain't the case this time. This may be real, and I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, because, I mean, we saw this same thing when it came to looking at Ortiz and Boots. Should we be shocked if De La Hoya is trying to protect an asset? Especially one that just won a belt against Resendez and just looked the best he's ever been. This doesn't surprise me at all if that's the case. Even though, yeah, Khamzat versus Munguia would be a great fight, and it would be the size versus the revamped boxing ability of Munguia. I think it would be a lot closer than people may think, because it's not what we saw with Berlanga. It would not be what we saw with Berlanga in that performance that he put out. It wouldn't be that. It would be a tougher fight than people. Even if you think Shiraz would win, with how Munguia looks now, this will be a lot more intriguing of a matchup than people may want to give it credit for. I'm serious. That's how good Munguia looked in that fight. He used some of the same stuff that we saw give Shiraz trouble against Carlos Adames. So I'm like, yeah, that might not be a bad fight to really make happen. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't be surprised if this is true and Golden Boy isn't going to let Munguia fight Shiraz, even though Shiraz wants to smoke, and Munguia may just want to smoke too. So Munguia don't be ducking people. He just be losing, but he'll be ducking. So Munguia probably is not the factor as to why this fight wouldn't happen. It would be almost assuredly Oscar De La Hoya. Almost assuredly Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy holding back Munguia from making that fight. Even though this division, it is a Russian roulette of danger because now it's revamped. We got people like Munguia looking good. We got Shiraz still being the towering, slicing force of destruction in this fight, replacing David Benavidez for what he was at 168 at this point in time. Canelo, Billy, Martinez, you got names and you got faces all across this division that are putting people in, so your boots are going to be shaking. It's top heavy, and everybody that's top heavy got a title opportunity that they want to put on top of their head as a crown. So you better believe, push comes to shove, something's going to have to shake. And Golden Boy, I don't, at this top level, can you really run anywhere? In terms of, if you want Munguia to keep on having success and stay at this elite tier, where right now you can say that he's in the same name regards of those other names that are elite that we called out after this fight, or at least within the vicinity. As a talent, can you really run anywhere? So again, if this is the case, Golden Boy is just holding the division hostage. And I don't like that. I don't like that. And then see, Hamzat smokes Munguia. That's perfectly fine. Again, I think that fight is going to be tougher than people may realize with what we were seeing Munguia be able to do against Resendiz. And if it's against a taller opponent who doesn't move a lot, sure, getting around those long limbs and that power, it's going to be dangerous. But it is more viable with what Munguia is looking like now. Because the old Munguia, yeah, he wouldn't have been close. Now, I got to think. Because there's some different elements to Munguia's game now that could actually make that fight a lot more intriguing. Let me see. MSU chat again. Olays Iglesias called Munguia out yesterday, telling him he has the belt and now it's time to unify. Yeah, and see, this is what we wanted from Iglesias. Make some noise and make people have to face you. Put people in the corner. Put people in danger. Make them have to look at you. That's what we want. Olays keep on making that same noise. Push the limit of people to have to say, we got to take you on, regardless of whether we think we're ready or not. Because you a champ and I'm a champion. What did we say with Abdullah Mason? You got a belt. I don't care if you think you ain't got it or not. You got to work. I don't care if you think that you the top dog up here or not. You have to work. There's no running with this title. If you got the title, if you're going to reign as the king, yeah, it's time to unify. This division as a whole is one of the most sought after at 168, strictly because of Canelo, but because of following in the footsteps of becoming a undisputed champion. People want that. People do want that. And I guarantee you, Olays, if you keep talking like this, you can force the issue. I want that to happen. I do. I really do. Let me see. You think, Vaughn Green, how you doing? Hey, good to see you. We appreciate you on our live stream today. We love the support, love all the camaraderie. And we enjoy everybody being a part of this show. Please keep on liking the stream and keep on sharing the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. One like makes a world of difference if you haven't already. We've had a couple streams. We had like 22 people like this thing. We can break that record every stream out if we keep on being diligent and you all helping to support this channel. No question about it. We can grow exponentially and we love the support regardless. But even still, while we're talking about Raymond Ford, we can transition over to the championship rounds as we're entering the last half of this show. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time to work, it's time to shine, and it's time to let your voice be seen and heard for the masses around the globe. And it's time for us to step into the ring, and it's time for the championship rounds. Yes, sir. Let's get it started. Come on. Let's get it popping. Let's get it working. And let's have ourselves a great last half of the show. 30 minutes to an hour on whatever you want to discuss in the world of boxing and beyond: movies, sports, television, video games, anime, things of the like, questions, comments, concerns, debates, whatever you would like to discuss. It is your time to let your voice be seen and heard for the masses around the globe to witness and enjoy and jump in on the conversation. So let's get it started, shall we? It's time for ourselves to enter the last half of this show. Yes, sir. Let's get it popping. And let's get it going, and let's see what you all have to say on today as we get ready to end off this show. You think Ford or Foster can handle Lomachenko? So Raymond Ford, absolutely not. Raymond Ford, absolutely. Raymond Ford would get dog walked if he fought against Lomachenko. It wouldn't be funny. It would be relentless, one-sided beatdown. It wouldn't. It wouldn't. That's not disrespect to Raymond Ford. I'm telling you right now, the way that he fights, I'm scared for him fighting against the likes of Shakur Foster, because I think Shakur Foster's going to mop the floor with him. And it's because Raymond Ford, he's missing, there's a certain intent. I haven't been able to put my finger on it. But every time I watch him fight, especially over his last recent fights, there's been a intangible element that I don't see Raymond Ford having that is not letting me say he can beat these other really good boxers that, thinking-wise, they're able to overshadow you. And where they're good at, you cannot get up to their level. And where you are good at, you can't overshadow them. And I think it was because of the Nick Ball fight. For all of the great stuff that we know Raymond Ford is as a fighter, he should have been able, and it was a great fight. It was a close fight. And again, Nick Ball is, again, a literal tank of a force to be reckoned with in this world of boxing. No issue there on those regards. But Raymond Ford, with what he was being touted as going into that fight, the makeup was, hey man, he's going to be able to not just hurt Nick Ball, but he's going to be slicker, smarter, and be able to take away all of Nick Ball's best weapons. And he couldn't do it. There's been a couple instances where all of the punching or pad work or everything that we see from Ford just doesn't equate to the same level of, okay, I see it now, type of epiphany when I'm watching him fight, to say, yeah, man, this man is one of them ones. I don't think he's one of them ones. He's one of the people. He ain't one of them ones. He's really good, but I can't call him great. He is and again, I'm not trying to sound vague. I know what I'm not seeing, but I can't put my finger on it. But I saw it with Foster. I saw it with Ball. And I saw it with nearly everybody else around this division as Raymond Ford. And I'm not seeing it. And I think the term is dominance in a category. What does Raymond Ford dominate in? That, okay, everybody else cannot get up to this level. Or that is their thing that can change a fight as a whole. Of, yeah, this is his thing that will, if he gets this right, it can go and overshadow anybody. Because there's better technical boxers than him. There's better distance managers than him at his own division. There are better jabs in this division than him. There's better defense than him in the divisions that he's in. He's got a motor, there's better motor. He's got power, there are people that got as much power as him. He has good combination punching, there's better combination punchers. I don't see him dominant in a category where, okay, that's his thing, and that thing can overtake a fight. I don't see it. with Foster. It's the 1-2 and it's the 1-2 combinations and his ability, especially recent, to use that jab in such a snap-like fashion. Nick Baller's aggression, overwhelming power. Figueroa, it's length and hooks and being able to work you into a corner and pressure you to where you lose the war of attrition, like he did against Nick Ball. Espinoza is height, uppercuts, and inside fighting as a tall fighter. And a right hand that comes down that can go, especially if you mess up, because he's really good at being able to hit those windows. Is that Lomachenko? Footwork. You cannot catch him. You can't. He is literally boxing circles around you, and you have no answer for his wavelength of offense and his mastery of the squared circle, ring generalship. On top of, he can put a hurt on you. I don't see that with Raymond Ford. I can't put that type of breakdown on Raymond Ford against most opposition. And it's not because he's not better at work than some people. He is better than some people. He's a really good fighter. But what does he excel at? And again, you all can help me out because I don't see it. But I don't know what he excels in boxing compared to the other counterparts that have at least one weapon that's their thing. I don't see that with Raymond Ford. Jack of all trades, but a master of none. I think the full phrase is better than being just a master of one. But in this situation, even the jack of all trades that can be Raymond Ford, it is somewhat, it's not a mastery. And even then, it is overshadowed by the one thing that another person can do, can overshadow all your complete great work that is all around good, but there's no X factor that pushes that good into, oh, boom, that's a problem. At least for me. So Raymond Ford would get destroyed if he fought against Lomachenko. He would get dominated. Especially at a weight class that Lomachenko should be at. 130 or 126, those lower divisions. Because again, he is blown up at 135, as in he should not be fighting up here with his physical stature, yet he is able to. It's a testament to his greatness. Absolutely. But down there, oh yeah, no, he's killing. He's destroying him. Let me see. Munguia shows skill and patience, using his feet in nice combinations. Absolutely. That's why that fight with the likes of Shiraz, I think, is going to be a whole lot tougher for Shiraz than people may think. I really do. I really do. That's why I want to see it. Do you think Boots is more aggressive and takes more risks than Bud or Keyshawn? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He does. He does. That's not bad. That's what he is. It's not bad. It's what it is. In fact, I put a whole, did you all, if you want to go back, hey, if you want to support this channel even more, go back. And you can even leave this podcast for the time being. Go back and watch my most recent short about Boots Ennis. I think I did a pretty good job on it. But go back and watch my recent short about Boots Ennis. And leave a like while you're there. But watch the whole thing. Because to summarize it, the risks are exactly what makes Boots great. Boots taking these types of risks is exactly why he is so spectacular as a boxer. He would not be what he is now if he wasn't the type of risk taker in this sport. Even if it is because the brother just doesn't go or the brother doesn't be as defensively sound as I would like to. Or he eats punches when I don't think he should, and he should be more elusive. And he can be more elusive. But he is still able to operate within those risks because he's that much of an athletic freak and great, legitimate fighter. He's that special. Bud takes risks too, but Bud covers his risk a whole lot more. In fact, he makes you have to take risks. Sean Porter said it best, but I wasn't comfortable in any way. Everything I did was a risk because there was no safe option. It wasn't the other way around. That's Sean Porter. Everything Boots, or rather Bud, made everybody else's normal game plan risky. And trying new stuff was even more risky. He became the risk that other opponents would be facing off against. Boots takes risk because he's that good. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just simply saying that's the difference that you can most evidently see. But because Boots takes those risks, he is pushing the envelope and causing other opponents to, oh my gosh, he's actually doing this. I didn't think he would actually go and take this chance, take this opportunity. Oh, he can get away with it too? Yeah, that's a problem. He's a problem. Boots needs to take risk. Boots elevating in this fight. I mean, Inoue takes risk. Most of Inoue's offense is risk-oriented because he's so good at being able to handle the risk in the midst of danger. Again, I say that in the short. If you ever go and check it out, minute thing. Great discussion. I love it. I think you'll love it too. Leave a like while you're at it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and the like. Even still, Boots is definitely a risk taker, and if he was anything less, he would not be the fighter that he is. He would not be as dominant of a spectacle as he is. You would not like him the same way if he was different. I'm not saying that in a negative context. I'm saying that you watch him and it's like, it's all I wonder. So yeah, Boots is more aggressive. Boots is he's less calculating and more instinctual than Terrence Crawford. But he's a risk taker that will put your lights up. And if anything, this actually brings up a very good question. This actually brings up something really good. Hold on a second. I just thought of something. With how Keyshawn Davis is moving right now, calling at everybody under the sun and continuing to grow as a young fighter, we could see Boots versus Keyshawn at 154. That's not at the realm possibility. Depending on how long Keyshawn Davis or how long Boots stays at 154, and depending on how long Keyshawn Davis takes to keep on moving up, because Keyshawn's looking for big fights. He may not want undisputed, so we could see him try to go after Devin Haney. If he beats Devin Haney, boom, I'm going on to the next challenge. We could see Boots and Keyshawn Davis face off against each other in a wild turn of events. Wild turn of events, but it's possible. And if it's possible, it's plausible. And if Keyshawn Davis wants to separate himself from the globe and get the biggest fights that he can get that aren't Shakur Stevenson, I can promise you, Boots Ennis is in his radar as this may be a thing. Excuse me, this may be a thing. This could be a reality. This could turn into an actual viable option. I'm not playing. It's not even a joke. Also, keep on liking the stream if you're here. But that's real. That's real. That is undoubtedly real. I'm so serious. It's real. There's no question in my mind it's real. That fight is such a lofty goal but intriguing matchup. And Keyshawn Davis, he'll definitely want to take it. And Boots Ennis also would want to take it because one, it would sell out, and two, Keyshawn by that time will probably be in a position where the whole he can't sell out an arena, or he's not the star yet that we think he's going to turn into. That'll be put to bed by the time that happens. He'll reach that stardom. He'll reach that zenith. He'll get to that top tier. He will be one of the more known names in the sport by the time that fight does become an actual potential reality. I can promise you. It's there for the taking. And if it doesn't become a reality, it can happen. Though people may say it should be against better judgment, it can happen. It can definitely happen. And if it does happen, man, I would pay so much money to see that fight. I would pay so much money to see Keyshawn and Boots face off against each other at 154. After Keyshawn's evolution as a boxer, I would pay buckets of money to see that transpire. It's not even funny. I'm serious. It's not even funny. It is not even funny. The amount of intrigue that fight brings to me. I'm dead serious, man. It'd be incredible. But even still, we still want to have your thoughts and opinions on the show while we're still going through and having you all be a part of this championship round segment. Oh, gosh, I didn't even switch the thing. I almost forgot. I'm sorry. I didn't forget to switch championship rounds. We've been in the championship rounds this entire time of this show since we're at the 2-hour mark. Again, we got for the next 30 minutes to an hour. You all control the whole of this show and your conversations involving whatever you want to discuss in the boxing world and beyond. You all drive the conversation. You push the envelope and you push the debates on whatever you want to have on our show. And if you want to talk about Tank, if you want to talk about Loma, Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, all of them against each other. More news in the heavyweight world with Usyk versus Rico. Do you think Rico could beat Usyk and pull off what we saw with Ngannou versus Fury situation? How do you feel about Moses Atama versus Daniel Dubois as a potential heavyweight clash for one of the 4 belts at heavyweight? All of this and so much more in regards to the world of sports or beyond, movies, television, video games, the NBA, and the playoffs that are going down, the NFL, and all the drama going on there. Whatever you would like to discuss, we can discuss it right here on this show. And if I can talk about it, hey, I'll tell it right here. But you all control the show and keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. One like makes a world of difference, and one share helps to put this show out to the masses all across the globe. And hopefully we're giving you a great insight and great investment and fun on our show. And we still got a poll in the chat as to who can Loma beat in his return, since the 3 biggest names are Shakur, Tank, and Keyshawn Davis as potential first fights back in his tenure as a fighter in this world of boxing. Who can he beat? Now, who can beat him? Who can Lomachenko beat in his return in boxing? And upwards of 55% of you all voted for Tank as the best person that Loma can beat at this stage in career. Keyshawn having 18%, coming in third, and Shakur coming in at 27%. So this is wild to think about, because I remember not even last year that Tank was seen as walking through the whole of the boxing public. Nobody could touch him. Nobody could deal with him. Everybody over a year ago was seeing Tank. He's the best in the world. He's top 3. He doesn't need a belt to validate his ability. Can't nobody outbox him. Can't nobody take his power. And nobody has the capacity to do and deal with all of his IQ, his methodical ability, his counterpunching, his building upon a game plan, and his ultimately perfect game plan to knock you out. And now, to go from that, and including the conversations with Lomachenko, and saying that Lomachenko would get knocked out by Tank, to now having over half the population saying that, at least on this community, half the population on this community, in this string, saying that Tank would get beat. He would get beat. And I would love to hear the why. I would love to hear your thoughts and your explanations as to why. Because guess what? I get it. I completely understand. I understand completely. I understand completely.
We got some problems here.
And for anybody who is a Tank supporter, these numbers should not shock you. For anybody that is an avid Tank supporter, these numbers in chat should not shock you at all. 55% saying Tank would lose to Lomachenko, more than any of these other 2 pound-for-pound caliber stars and names. This should not surprise you, because we have to sit with the reality. Tank may not be as good as we've been advertising him. I don't say that from the standpoint of his skill sets aren't his skill sets. I'm saying the separation that's been pushed with Tank may not be as drifting away amongst from the rest of the field as we've touted for a number of years. Time heals all wounds. Yes. Time also gives you opportunities to reflect. Retrospective implications on the life of not just yourself, but on your surroundings. A recontextualization of the environment that you're in, the world that you live in, as well as your own thought processes when it comes to certain aspects in life. And Tank, right now, he's been reevaluated. It's not just because of the domestic violence stuff. It's not just because of the court cases. It's not just because of the outside boxing issues. It's not just because of the sweeping landscape of the rest of the world moving without Tank being there. Because remember, I told you all, when Tank is out of this sport, the sport will be better. And lo and behold, we've had some of the most exciting years in boxing when Tank has not been the most important thing in the universe. I'm not just saying this stuff trying to get clicks or trying to go and push the pace and get people all mad. Not doing that. There's a method to the reasoning, because we're seeing it now. And he, as a fighter, this current landscape in time, we've had time to get out of the honeymoon period of Tank and look at him what he is. Which the talent is always there, but now did we overblow it as to he is above everything and everyone in the world? And the answer is yes. And people are waking up to it. He's beatable, more than beatable. He can't be beaten by the very people that you said were gonna get mocked by him. Lomachenko's one of them. If you do not gravitate towards the reality that Lomachenko is one of these people that can beat Tank, not even saying that he will, I'm saying he can, you are going to be in a debilitating state if you see him lose. And it's like, how can this be? I'm trying to prep you, because there's a reality that's been blanketed over the public that has made Tank so invincible that his talent was bigger than the sport, and that just wasn't the case. And now we're back down to earth. This same sentiment, Lomachenko could have beaten Tank, should have been said back then, and it should be here now. Still, Lomachenko can beat Tank. Lomachenko can beat him. Lomachenko can beat Tank. He can't. Because now we've seen there's a way to beat him at the range that Lomachenko would have to be at. We just saw somebody in Lamont Welch who's a worse fighter, worse boxer than Lomachenko. And this isn't me throwing shade. He's not as good of a fighter as Lomachenko. We just saw him beat Tank in a similar instance that we would have had to seen Lomachenko deal with Tank. He's able to do it. I'm telling you, it's possible. It's absolutely possible. Let me see. Boots is a whole other beat than Canelo. I mean, yeah, he's a whole different fighter. Boots is gonna be too big for Keyshawn though. I know we want to see Bud Style, or we want to see how Bud Style would have matched up with Boots in his. And actually, that actually brings up a whole nother situation. We may not have to see Bud Style just be implemented by Keyshawn Davis or others. We could see Bud come back. Y'all understand that, right? You all understand that, correct? We could see character. We could see the original Terrence Crawford come back to boxing. That is, I don't know why people aren't putting that in its proper perspective. We could see him come back, like cause the fans are calling for it. Everybody's saying if Lomachenko can come back, sure enough you can. And with the landscape of boxing right now, we would love to see how that would take place. Imagine Crawford versus Boots at 154, Janibek at 160, Keyshawn Davis at 154. Shoot, fighting the likes of Shakur at a catchweight, if possible. All these fights, so a rematch with Canelo. Everybody's returning. Errol Spence is coming back. We got everybody's moving, changing. And, don't forget, the fight with Terrence Crawford can also be a thing. That fight with Terrence Crawford, or the fight with Errol Spence Jr. can also be a thing that returns and comes back. And it's not just viable, but it is. At 154, if we see Errol Spence look good against Tim Tszyu, all of a sudden people saying, we want to see that rematch. Terrence Crawford versus Boots at 154. Potentially, that's a different fight. That's the fight that we always wanted to see. Is it not? Is it not? That's the fight that we always wanted to see. That's the fight that had everybody and their mama excited because the first fight, 5 years, we finally get it. And the next thing you know, boom, Crawford beats him, destroys him. Cool. Boots is that big of a monster. The biggest excuse was Crawford is not fighting the best Spence because the best Spence is at 154. Was that not the case? Was that not the case? And now he's at 154. He's coming back after 3 years. He's fighting against Tim Tszyu, who, yes, everybody is diminished as a fighter, but if he does beat Tim Tszyu dramatically, who's to say that people wouldn't want to clamor, hey, Loma came back, Spence came back, Charles coming back, where is Crawford? Where's Bud? Where's the baddest man on the planet? Because it's the unks are back in town. We want to see what you got to offer. The unction's in full effect. And they still reigning. Apparently, we want to see you back in the foray. There's money to be made. There is big fights to happen. There is legacy to still take place and grab hold to. There is now a landscape for a proving ground of elevation that you can apply to your own career if you went and ran through the gauntlet of all of these fighters that are now in the mix. And you're the man that still carries all the weight. Do it. So, I'm telling you, the pressure is building, moving and changing to get Terrence Crawford back. And with all these other returns to the sport, we could, even though he's 38 years old, Terrence Crawford coming back is not anything out of the question. I'll be down for seeing it. I really would. I really would. And I guarantee you, Turkey right now, seeing all Turkey Al Sheik, especially seeing all these other fighters return to the ring, come back, and looking like they're trying to be something more. And all of a sudden, there's money, dollar signs everywhere. I guarantee you, he's gonna throw. He'll tell Crawford, "I'll throw you a bag." He'll tell him, "Hey, brother, I will throw you money more than what I gave you with Canelo to potentially go through and come back, because this right now is oozing with possibility of what we can see. Oozing with possibility of what we can potentially see. And man, it would be insane. It would be insane to think about if we actually got to see it. Let me see. You know what I'm a guess. I think Bud is waiting for Boots or someone to collect all the belts at 154, then come back to fight them for undisputed, to go as a 4-time undisputed champion, 4-weight class undisputed. Yeah, that's never been done. He did something that only Henry Armstrong did, becoming 3-time undisputed. That's only happened, I think, by Henry Armstrong once in the history of boxing. He becomes 4-time undisputed champion. There's nobody, to my knowledge, there's nobody in boxing history that's ever done it. No one in boxing history that has ever accomplished that type of feat. If he did that, that would put him in a threshold. Yeah, now we're talking. We're getting in the top 5 territory. If you do that, that would be as impressive as, or near as impressive as Manny Pacquiao, 8-division champion. That would be that type of insanity. That would be that type of insanity. That would be ridiculous. We were already going to have him fight for 4-time undisputed. Because forget just Boots getting a potential undisputed title. If he gets the undisputed title, forget that. He was going to fight Janibek. If Loma and Janibek had actually fought against each other, he was going to come back down to 160. Let Janibek get all the belts, or Laura get all the belts, and then he was going to fight one of them. That was going to be his 4-time. He said he already said in an interview, I'll come down to 160 and I'll do it again after I beat Canelo. He went to Janibek's press conference. He went there. He went through and was scouting him out. He went to Janibek's own event to go and say, hey, I'm here. I'm waiting on you. I'm looking out for you. Get it done, essentially was the subliminal messaging. And we got ourselves a fight. Janibek pops, WBC and Suleiman mess up all the money because we hate what they were doing in that situation, because they were just trying to strong arm Crawford into giving him some more money than he needed to. And now we see, I'm done. There's nothing else to fight for. What's the point? And I understood. I got it. I understood the reasoning. But he wouldn't have never left if Janibek had not popped dirty. I can promise you, if Janibek had not popped dirty, Crawford would have not retired. The end of the road would have still came soon. But he wouldn't have retired before getting that fight. He would not have retired. He didn't wear that shirt for nothing. In training camp, he didn't wear that shirt for nothing. He didn't wear that 4-time undisputed shirt for nothing. That's the goal. That's the history. That is, in my opinion, I think that's something, again, skepticism. Strictly skepticism. But to me, that is the one accomplishment that Crawford is saying, if I can accomplish that, that'll be the biggest thing I've ever done. The biggest thing he did was beat Crawford. Yes, absolutely. But that would etch him in history, where everything about him, when people say that he is not one of the greatest, tearing down his career, trying to give caveats and all that stuff for what he is and isn't as a boxer, If he accomplished 4-time undisputed, something that, again, to my knowledge, no man or woman in the history of boxing in any iteration has ever accomplished before. No man in sports combat history, I don't think, has ever done that before. If he does accomplish that, that would put him in the restful state that more than just I have nothing else to prove, there is legitimately nothing you can say. You can't make up that type of history. It's like with LeBron when he broke the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record. You can't say anything about that. He did it. He did something that we thought would never happen. Outside of 100 years later. With everybody else that was scorers around him, he's the one that broke the record and had been the most consistent, dominant scorer that the NBA had seen. And that title was with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It validated LeBron in a way that there is nothing that can be said against that. And with this fight, for 4-time undisputed, you already can't say nothing about 3-time. The accolade. But with the win, people are still trying to say Canelo was old, which, again, is stupid. Because Crawford shouldn't have won that fight regardless of if Canelo was over the hill or not. He shouldn't have won that fight. Because he was old when he fought Jermell Charlo. Canelo was old when he fought Jermell Charlo. He's been older than Crawford his entire career. He was old when he fought Jermell Charlo. Or rather, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Crawford, I believe, is older than Canelo. And Canelo, even when he fought Crawford, was looking old. Excuse me, when he fought Charlo, was looking old in that fight. And the same stuff that happened with William Skull happened in that fight where he couldn't actively cut off the ring and do and get him out of there. When he should have been able to get him out of there. But still, nobody batted an eye. Nobody said a hoot. Why? Because it fit their narrative. Now you come along and you do that, they try to make some sort of excuse. But that, yeah, you can't say nothing about that. I guarantee you, he's going for it. I'm with you. If he does stick to retirement, so be it. But there's an inkling in the back of my mind. It just is going to take somebody, anybody, below 168 to become an undisputed champion. Or maybe Canelo becoming undisputed again at 168. One of those two instances. Canelo specifically, or anybody else at 168, becoming undisputed. And from 168 to 154, whoever garners the titles, all of them, it may be one fight he'll come back for. And then after that, done completely. After that specifically, then it'll be done completely, at least to me. Let me see. If he does that, he's going down as the greatest of all time at that point. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. The only people that would have an argument against him, Sugar Ray Robinson, Roy Jones Jr., Muhammad Ali, Sam Langford, Manny Pacquiao. These names, I'm not in any order, but these names, outside Sugar Ray Robinson, who's my number one all time. Sugar Ray number one, Roy number two. Those are my top two all time for me. But outside of that, in no particular order, all of those names he'll be in the running for to say he might be above. Because that's preposterous if he accomplishes that. That's ridiculous if it did happen. But like I said, we can discuss that later on in the week, like with when we come back on Friday. Because we got to end this show off today, trying to keep in time and in tune with our normal run time of the show, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 45 minutes. So we at that threshold right now. So we got to wrap this show up and send it home and get on out of here. I hope that you all enjoyed this show, and I hope I gave you all some great and quality entertainment. But we have to go and leave and get ready for Friday. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, oh, no, wrong button. That ain't what I'm trying to say. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. This has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We appreciate all of your support and all the love to the stream on today. We appreciate everybody who gave and supported to our show. Yo, Hammy, we appreciate you with the PayPal subscriptions, and anybody else, or the PayPal payout, and alms to the Empire, and anybody else who supported this show. All of you in chat who commentated and talked through this whole thing, we appreciate you all. We appreciate your support. We appreciate the love, and we can't wait to see you all on Friday with a whole show. It's strictly dedicated to the championship rounds, where we talk about more stuff involved. Again, we're going to be talking about Zuffa on Friday, as well as more stuff with Lomachenko, Tank, Shakur, Ryan Garcia. Yeah, I think we're going to have some stuff with Ryan Garcia, hopefully. I think we might have something going on with that. And a bunch of other things involving the world of boxing and beyond that we'll be able to discuss and enjoy, where you all control the whole of the conversation on the day. The top 5 most active chatters for our show today. Number 5 was Hammy Hamster. Number 4 was number 1, was Hammy Hamster. Number 2 was Peel Out. Number 3 was Legendary Super Saiyan. Number 4 was Johnny Blaze. And number 5 for the top 5 chatters on today's episode, being the most active, was indeed Mr. Miyagi. Congratulations to you all, and congratulations to Hammy Hamster for being the most active chatter on our stream today. And hopefully you'll hold that title as we go into tomorrow's show on Friday, same time, same place, same channel, and even more entertainment for you all to witness and enjoy. Leave a like on the stream before you get out of here. One like makes a world of difference to help push this show out to the masses all across the globe. Hit the hype buttons on these streams after they finish as well, and turn into individual videos to help push them out even more to the algorithms all across of YouTube. Leave a like on the video. Keep on commenting what you like or didn't like about the show. I read them, and I want to see what you all have to say. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and come on and join the Empire. And please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up our empire together. And if you want to support the channel one more time, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below, Super Chat, Super Gift, stickers, and the like. If you want to keep the show going, help us to pay the bills, and help us to go and make this show better for you to witness and enjoy. But I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. We can't wait to see you all on Friday. Be safe, be blessed, peace, and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. Salute to you. We're going to get on out of here, and we can't wait to see you all tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day. Have a phenomenal afternoon, and we are out of here.